And we are live. How is
What's
up?
Mike, you got exciting hair again. I love it.
I got what?
You got exciting hair again. I love it.
It does.
Yeah.
It's like
I can't
it's very
find my...
active today.
You're supposed to wear a helmet when you ride the motorcycle.
Yeah, I know. Camera's all screwy. I can't find my yarmulke. I'm a mess today. This is not
status quo for this crew.
Yeah. This is not what I would call a great day.
Was it a Monday?
It's been a Monday. It has been a Monday. This might be a shorter stream than normal, everybody, just to kind of let you know. I will try to move into the topic a little bit quicker, mostly because I have a maintenance window. I have to start working at 10 o'clock my time, so that gives me roughly an hour and a half exactly, and I probably need to log in a few minutes early. So it's going to be one of those things. But I didn't want to cancel because we only do this every other week and that kind of thing. So and
they would riot if they would riot if we did.
Absolutely might riot. That's entirely possible. Maybe. I don't know. This particular channel is weird because I'm so focused on the other one lately that it's kind of hard to figure out like what's going on with it. People come, people go. Or leaving, then coming. I sort of come out and even. Very bizarre. I don't know. And Rob's already ran off on me at least once.
I just got a mail call.
I talk about losing people, and then I immediately lose Rob. What the hell?
Mail call.
By the way, hey, what's up, Heavy? And hey, what's up, Carla? And hey,
Heavy. Hey, Carla. Fastback's in the house. We got Fastback in here.
Brother Chris
Zombie here. Dorkside, distracted.
Hello, everybody.
Is Distracted in here?
I saw him. Yeah, he was here. He's here.
Okay, there's Distracted.
Third one in.
Okay. We got people filtering in. Everybody's kind of popping in. So let's go around the table and kind of see what everybody did this weekend. Rob, what'd you do?
What did I do? Actually, I kind of feel like it was supposed to be a good weekend because I literally played video games all weekend, but it just the games I chose to play, I think, kind of let me down. So it's been a while since I played God of War Ascension, which is my least favorite game in the series. So I played through that. And then I started playing Resident Evil 5, which is my least favorite game from that series. So it's
somebody's gonna have to like coach me on how to get into Resident Evil because I started with Code Veronica and I think that was a bad pick.
Really?
I didn't enjoy that one at all.
That's typically one of the best of the series.
Oh God, I hate that game.
And this is neither here nor there, but my wife literally just got this out of the mailbox. A game that I...
Oh, look at that. We were talking about that with Eugene.
Yeah, we were.
Oh, that game looks fun.
Game with all kinds of stuff. I haven't played it yet, but it's got a jumping spider. How cute is that?
And apparently they get laser guns and stuff. I saw in some of the trailers. Yeah, one had like a little gun and stuff. It looked neat.
Oh.
Anyway, I hope it really does indeed become super rare, super valuable. I could use maybe I could retire on this. I don't know.
Spiders.
Anyways,
Sandwiches in here. DJ Game Studios is
What's
in
up,
here.
Sandwich?
White is in the house. We have tons of people popping in.
Spiders with
Zombie's
freaking
back.
laser beams.
If he went anywhere, but hi, Zombie.
Well, anyway, just real quick. Hopefully Eugene pops in. If he does, remind me to show this at him at the camera.
I think
it was because of him.
Digitally.
He shouted this game out
to get
Twitter,
that physically. And he was the one that tipped us both off on that. So I'll probably end up picking that up digitally, and if there's a physical copy down the road, I may pick that up, depending on how much fun I have with it. It looks very cute.
It does.
I think I'll probably have a good time with it.
Like, how many games can you actually play as a spider? I can only think of 3, including this one.
I can think of like one that I play a flea, but I can't think of another one that I play spider. No, there's that one Atari game. The Recharge games. Black Widow Recharged. I think you play a spider.
Yes.
But I haven't actually played that one.
Now I gotta tamp this. Now I gotta tamp this shit down.
Good luck, sir.
It's not zombie.
it's not containable, sir.
I want to thank the chat for cheering me up already.
Yeah, Scepter, that's one of the games I was thinking of. A spider on the PS1 and also Deadly Creatures on the Wii. You play as a tarantula and a scorpion.
Okay.
And it's
I hadn't
pretty
even
good.
heard of those.
I only know of
There's hair
Spider because of
going
the Spider video game conversation.
Fire. Fire.
Fire, fire.
Mike, how'd your weekend go? I heard you built a new mini house.
Yeah. Well, not me. I didn't do it. My 17-year-old Eagle Scout to be
Oh, sweet.
did.
That was his project, huh?
That was his project, and it's done. 5 days in, and he built a shed.
You spent like 2 weekends doing that, didn't you? You spent one tearing it
3.
down and one building it back?
No, 3. 5 days.
Wow.
Total. Yep. 1 day to tear it down, 5 days to build it, and a 17-year-old, a bunch of scouts, and some amateur recreational carpentry parents built a friggin' shed. It's done, and it looks
nice, man. That's
great.
I don't
from scratch.
I'm terrible at doing stuff like that. I usually end up outsourcing it just because I'm so bad at it. Some stuff I've managed to figure out because I own a house, but it's very minimal.
My son, when he took that project on, it was at our synagogue, and our buildings and grounds chair, the guy who does our buildings and grounds, he said to Jacob, flat out, I'm telling you, this is a big project. This is ambitious is not the word. I mean, usually the kids are building benches or mailboxes for the American Legion or something like that.
Yeah.
He built a shed. We hauled $1,000 worth of raw lumber from Lowe's out to this thing and cut it and built it and nailed it and screwed it and shingled it and yeah. So, but it's done. It's done, and it actually it looks great. So, for a bunch of kids and some, like I said, some weekend warrior adults, it looks fantastic.
Chuck,
so
I talk in television a lot, my friend. It's my escape from a television.
We could talk about Pong. One side.
I talk about Pong about every other video.
Yeah,
like almost everything on my other channel somehow ties into
two
Pong.
lines, a dot, back and forth.
Yes.
Next topic.
Wow, that's just mean. So mean.
Oh, I love Chuck.
Mean.
Chuck knows I love it.
So
I'm just in a bad mood today because I'm exhausted.
Oh, dude, I've been tired all day. I came home, tried to start exercising, made it through about 3 exercises, and went.
I didn't even go tonight.
And when I can't do this, and this stopped.
Tonight is usually my gym night before I come on here. I mean, I'm all dressed for it. I was like, nope, not tonight. I will go on Wednesday. I will go on Thursday. I will go on Saturday.
I normally exercise about 6 days a week, but it's been harder and harder for me to do it right now. It's very weird. But my weekend was kind of uneventful. I did a little bit of Ninja Gaiden, which is kind of becoming a love-hate relationship with me because like making progress where I'm at in the game right now is like it's like millimeters of progress. Like you kill one more enemy than you killed before, or you sort of clean up a jump here and there, and you hope it stays consistent. That's kind of like where I feel like I'm at with the game. I don't know. Me and retro games have like a love-hate relationship. I love them. They hate me. I love Ninja Gaiden. I think it's a great game. It's also an insanely difficult game, particularly for me because my coordination, not necessarily my jump coordination, that's fine, but a lot of the retro games, Ninja Gaiden in particular, is very specific, almost down to the pixel on where you need to be in some spots. Otherwise, it will randomly spawn all sorts of crazy shit on you, and everything just completely gets pear-shaped. And you're just left going, what the hell happened between here and the last time I did this run? Until you start to figure out and start looking more at the floor than you do anything else in the game. So that's been my experience. Rob, I don't know if that's a similar experience with you in that game. Maybe it's just me.
I always found that Ninja Gaiden was actually very, as long as you were predictable, the game was predictable. So I never really found that stuff random happened. But as soon as you alter course and like allowed yourself to, pause or double back a little bit, then it started going to shit. So like whenever the enemies started doing something weird, you could always just go back a little bit and reset them, because it's Thumb would, if Thumb were here, he would tell you all about it. But what's up, Rhea?
Hey, Rhea. I love the new icon, by the way.
Yeah, very cute. So one of the things I loved about Ninja Gaiden was just how predictable it was. It was very refreshing.
Spoot Scoop's here. What's up, man? Good to see you. Haven't seen you in ages.
I feel sorry for you, Chuck. Man, those are
in parts. I think you're right. Like the first 5 stages, I feel like are very predictable, right?
Mm-hmm.
Even stage 6-1 is pretty predictable. 6-2 just seems to like go off the rails.
There are, and Thumb has studied the game a lot more than I have. So he says there's like 6 points of RNG in that game, and I feel like the flying ninjas the
jetpack ones. Oh yeah, they'll come in at.
I think
even coming in at the same direction. Sometimes they'll come in at different heights. So sometimes you can hit them, sometimes you can't.
So I don't know.
It's weird. Anyway, I did some of that. I got a couple things going. Got a new video kind of get together. Got myself behind the 8 ball a little bit because it was a longer video than I expected it to be, which left me a little bit behind this week. Matter of fact, I've got another one I got to finish up before Wednesday, or just skip that one and then move on to something else. Oh, what's up, Super Mega Graphics? How you doing, Zach? Trying to watch more than one stream's too hard. That's fine, man. I'm just glad you popped in and said hi. How you been, man? So yeah, I got some of that done. I did a little bit of gaming on it, but I'm to the point where I'm gonna have to play Ninja Gaiden in shorter fits and spurts. But I need to practice it more because when I went into it last week, I went into it just cold for the most part. Made some progress on it, but I went into it cold, which was not really where I wanted to go into.
Well, I don't doubt that you'll get it for sure. But yeah, the last
I do.
I don't, because I've seen what your approach is. So I'm confident that you won't let yourself get beaten, is kind of what I'm.
Yeah, there's been a couple of games I let myself get beat on, but those were games that I just wasn't really enjoying those games. Ninja Gaiden for the most part, even getting the crap beat out of me when I'm screaming at it, I'm going, okay, how do I fix this?
Yeah.
Right? Like, how do I fix it? What do I do? What do I do? So I'm in that headspace more than I'm in the screw this game kind of headspace, which is fine. Massive flooding today. Oh God, dude, that sucks. I'm sorry, man. So yeah, that was my weekend. So what we have for a topic for you guys tonight as we're about 13 minutes in. Go. Oh, what? Go.
Oh no, I'm sorry. I was I was looking at the chat. No. Now,
okay.
The real love-hate Ninja Gaiden will be the day we get to watch you play it on the Xbox.
I've almost beaten that one before.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
And where I got to that one,
very nice.
And you're gonna laugh because I got all the way to the part with the lava where you had to jump to that busty blonde girl so she pulled you up for the last fight.
Yep.
Could not find the intersecting ledge between me and her that I needed to get to make that jump. Kept falling in the lava, had a resurrection stone, had no way to get back up, and ended up even having to reset the console or jump around until I died and get back to my save space. And I just washed my hands of it after about 15 tries. I said, fuck it.
Now you're not. I'm not laughing because the very first time I played and got to that part, I couldn't find a ledge either.
Hey D9, how you doing?
Popped out of nowhere.
Yeah, and apparently it and I didn't have good internet at the time, so I couldn't look up where in the hell I needed to go. So it was pretty much like the dark days, right? Like where you had a strategy guide and the strategy guide didn't cover that spot and you were still hosed, right?
Right.
Or somebody told you or pointed it out. I came over to your house and pointed it out to you, and I didn't have that either. So I was just done. The guy was like shocked that I brought it in before I beat it that way. Dude! Congrats, man! Way to go, Stampede! Nice!
Well done, Stampede.
We're talking about Pac-Man Unlock and Chase. What am I missing in chat? Hi, by the way, D9. I don't know if I officially said hi. Brian F's in chat. Hi. Lance Jennings in. How you doing, Lance? And obviously, hi Stampede. Congratulations on winning your hockey championship.
Chuck wants us to talk Pac-Man. Okay.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Waka.
Pizza, dots, ghosts. Next topic.
Ping. Okay, so our topic tonight is pretty much games and consoles that influence us the most. I feel like this is usually heavily tied to what you grow up with, or in some cases, something that you discover along the roads. For me, well, I'll let you guys start, and then I'll kind of go into mine, because I think mine's probably going to be anticlimactic anyway.
Yours is the NES. We know that.
Yeah. That's the one I got the most tied to. I started with ColecoVision, but I didn't really get hooked, I think, until NES.
Go ahead, Rob. I got to think about this a second.
I kind of feel like we, each of us,
I've
covered this a little bit.
A little bit.
I guess it'd be easier for me to say NES, but I'm going to say the Game Boy probably influenced me. That was the console
This makes sense to me. Yeah.
I grew up with. So, and honestly, when I had the Game Boy growing up, I also had a Genesis and an NES, and those systems were basically trash to me. I babied that Game Boy. I cleaned the screen every day. I kept it in the case, kept all the boxes, all the games complete in box with just immaculate condition. I kept that whole library in. Whereas the NES games, you tear open the box, maybe you lose the manual, maybe you hang on to it somewhere in your room. Definitely throw the box in the trash. Games everywhere. So it's, I probably had I want to say probably 30 Game Boy games when I was a kid, and versus maybe 8 NES games. So I guess despite what I focus on now, the Game Boy was my biggest influence growing up.
I think the Game Boy had a really cool gimmick, because if I remember right, and this could have been just me getting cases from my parents, but I remember they came with their own plastic case to put the games back into. And that is actually great, because for Nintendo, that was kind of a tray
that fit inside the box.
What's Jay? Yeah. How's it going, Jay? How you doing, man? But yeah, I really did enjoy the Game Boy, but I found the Game Boy a little more limited. I almost had to play it inside because of the screen.
I wouldn't take mine outside anyway because it'd get dirty. So
okay, fair enough. You didn't have it in the car, so you could play a game on the way home or anything?
I did. I would bring it in the car, but
I was about to say
you can only play it at night. You can only play it at night, though.
Yeah, or you get some shade or something. You make a little tent thing so it gets a little darker.
That was basically the most of how I played the game, was directly underneath the lamp, because I don't know how I stared at the screen for that long and saw as well as I did. So
yeah, I don't think I could go back and play an OG Game Boy the way the OG Game Boy was set up.
No, I have a bunch now. I don't even want to. I don't need to ruin the memories of that I had as a kid playing it.
Well, I mean, the games hold up great. There are a lot of great games that hold up on there. There was Mario and the 6 Golden Rings. That one was amazing. They had a fantastic Turtles game on there. Tetris was amazing on there. And trying to go through my internal list of Game Boy games, of which there's so many of them that I forgot.
Basically, every Konami game had at least one great game. Castlevania 2. Actually, I would say that the first 2 Castlevania games on the Game Boy are great. Then Contra, Gradius had 2 excellent games on the Game Boy. Mega Man games were pretty good. Everyone loves the 6 Golden Coins and also Link's Awakening.
Yeah, there was a Gargoyle. There was a
Gargoyle Quest is my favorite game.
Quest. That was a great game.
I love that.
It was a really hard game, but that's a great game for the Game Boy. There was all the I think I had Simon Belmont's the Castlevania Adventure one. I think I had the first one on there. Man, the game was hard, but I played the hell out of the game. I think I almost broke my Game Boy playing that damn thing one day. My God, the game was frustrating. But it was a fun game too. They had a bunch of really cool stuff on there.
Lots of puzzle games.
Yeah. They have a lot of puzzle games. And well, that's kind of a great game to do on the go. And that's translated forward to mobile phones and stuff too. Because you'll notice a lot of the games that are on there, at least a lot of the ones that I gravitate to, tend to be either Bust a Move, where you're like popping bubbles, or
Mhm.
Tetris style games, or like slide puzzle type games, where not like an actual traditional slide puzzle, but where you're like sliding a piece here and there to connect three and stuff like that. That kind of thing. And I play those a lot. I feel like that's a great use for like a phone screen kind of game.
Another interesting thing about the Game Boy is that Nintendo was trying to use it to attract more adult gamers. So a lot of their Game Boy marketing, the NES marketing was straight to the kids, but the Game Boy marketing was kind of split down the middle. They were trying to get adults to buy the Game Boy and play Tetris in the sports games, and also they had that like a series of really shitty, like personal, like PDA style apps, like dictionaries and Spanish translators.
Oh yeah. There was the camera. There was
well, it's not, the camera is kind of just for kids, but I'm talking about actual the same kind of programs that you would find on like the Palm Pilot years later.
they had a sonar.
Like a fish finder, yeah.
Yeah, they had a fish finder for it. It was the weirdest thing.
But that was one more example of them trying to get the adult gamers to play their games and buy them. And they tried again with the Wii, with the same people. Honestly, just didn't really work out. Yeah, we're talking Game Boy, Dyer. That's my system. That's what influenced me. You missed the story.
Hey, Dyer, how you doing, man?
That's what happens when you come in on the end of it.
Game Boy Color 15 years ago with Tetris, and she's played it already since. That's dope, man. I never got the Game Boy Color. At the time, I thought the Game Boy Color was just like the Game Boy with color. I didn't think there was anything new. Like you would have a color option for your game.
Bit more power behind
but
it,
there was a bit more power behind it, and there were some exclusive titles just for it. It really was a different console, even though I didn't think of it as that at the time.
I had way moved on by the time the Game Boy Color came out, so I had no interest whatsoever. And the library for the Game Boy Color is garbage. So outside of maybe a dozen games,
I was about to say, they had it. Well, a lot of them were ports, but the Link's Awakening, which had that DX version of the Color, was really good.
I mean,
about a dozen good games on the Game Boy, but a lot of Powerpuff games and Powerpuff Girls.
I didn't. By the time I had gotten into the Game Boy, I had gotten into the Advance. The Game Boy Advance was the first one I really had touched.
See, I had the Game Boy and I had the Game Gear. I didn't get the Game Boy Advance or the Game Boy Color or the Game Boy SP because I was getting out of handhelds at the time, so I just didn't grab those. In retrospect, I really wish I'd gotten the GBA. Seeing some people stream those now, it's got a phenomenal library.
It does.
It really does.
And that library's got some expensive games in it.
Yeah, I can believe that.
No,
I can definitely believe that.
I had a Game Gear. I like
Turbo
my Game Gear.
Express is the best, and then the Nomad. See,
I remember
the Nomad's too bulky. The Turbo Express made more sense to me because of the hue cards. The form factor could be a little bit smaller and still kind of give you like a quality product.
Not every game was on a hue card.
Yeah, not every game was on that, but that's what it would play, and it was a good chunk of the library, so you could play a lot of the library on the go.
Yeah,
But the Nomad always seemed like, after having seen a couple of them, like it's a little too bulky, right? Because it's got a whole Genesis cart, so the whole thing's kind of big.
It was not very comfortable to hold, for sure.
Yeah, it doesn't look like it. I wanted one when I was a kid, but it looks a little too big.
It tried, and of course, you couldn't really put the Sega CD or 32X on it.
You couldn't shove a 32X into the.
No, I mean you could.
But you might be able to, and that would be interesting to watch somebody try.
I don't think it would work.
I think I could. Well, the Master Gear converter.
Is that are you talking about the main converter that took the Genesis and let it play Master System games? Is that what you're
no, that's the power. That's the power-based converter. So the Master Gear converter, if I remember correctly, went into the Game Gear. Crap. It played. Let me go look up what it did.
I'm looking it up right now because I think I'm blanking on this thing. Accessory for the Sega Game Gear, allowing it to play Sega Master System games. I didn't even know this existed.
Wow.
That's dope.
How big was this thing, and how big did it turn the Game Gear into?
Was
it like a backpack, or did the stack?
I mean, it looks like it fits into the Game Gear slot, and then it's got pinouts, so you can plug a Master System game on the top of it. So it doesn't look that bad, but you're going to have this big bulky cart kind of sticking out the top, right? Because this thing's going to stick into the bottom, and then you're going to kind of screw it in a little bit because it's got a little screw. And then you stick the Master System card on the top of it. So the actual device itself isn't that big, but you're going to have the cart sticking out the top a little bit.
Yeah.
So it's going to be kind of weird. So that's kind of unusual. I didn't even know that existed. That's dope. I'm going to have to make a note of that. That might be a video later. That's really cool. I like that.
It's only $30 if you can find it.
I need more pictures of that thing because I just want to see it with a cartridge attached to it. That's ridiculous.
Oh, I know.
I love it. That's fantastic.
Well, I'm looking to see if I can find a good. I mean, there's a.
The only problem was the resolution difference between the Master System and the Game Gear. I would imagine the Master System would have a little bit better resolution than the Game Gear. The Game Gear didn't have.
I hope so.
That amazing of a resolution. I mean, it was great for what it was, but.
I mean, it didn't. Here. Let me see if I can copy this image link. It doesn't look like it is that bad. It almost looks like you put it in and the converter like sits on the back, and then so it's not sticking up. It's almost like it.
Oh, I see it.
Like it fits on the back like a case.
That's what I meant. Does it wear it like a backpack?
Okay.
It wears it like yes. I got you. Now I know what you're saying. It does. No,
I'm trying to think of another thing that I saw that I think the Game Boy Game Genie did that, where it was kind of stacked onto the back, not stacked up.
I don't know if it's going to open this, but I've got this image downloaded. I've got an image of it now. There it is. Okay. All right. Let me share my screen here.
I see.
Yeah, it
doesn't look like it's $30.
That's honestly not that bad.
That's not that bad.
Okay, so you probably got the same image that I just found right before I noticed that you sent me that link. And that reminds me a little bit of the Nomad, but you don't have to keep it in there the whole time, so you can just kind of pop it in and out whenever you want to play Master System games.
Right.
The problem was, by the time I got a Game Gear, I couldn't find Master System games anywhere. They went out of stock everywhere. Okay, so apparently Sai has that converter, and he says it works great. Yeah, I mean, it looks like it would work pretty good. Okay, the text is a little too hard to read on some of the games like RPGs. That makes complete sense.
That does make sense.
That makes absolute sense because they're designed to be on the series.
With the no, I don't know these kind of numbers off the top of my head, but I think the NES had the 256 by 245-ish aspect ratio. So I would imagine the Master System must have something similar. And I know that the Game Boy had a fraction of that. So I imagine that the Game Gear would be similar to that. So
yeah, it's going to squish everything a little bit.
The stuff that you can't see.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if it's so much that, or if it just like squishes everything a little bit, and that's what makes the text hard to read. Because it's kind of like when you take a font and you crunch it a little too much.
So the Game Gear had a 160 by 144 resolution.
Okay, so it's a bit more like because the Game Boy resolution was almost perfectly square. Just
yeah,
I think it was like 190 by something.
Yeah. So I was saying that it's like half the Master System resolution, and that's another system I need to dig more into. I need to download more games for that because I downloaded like a handful of games for the Master System, and they were all oddball ones that I hadn't even heard of or seen before. And some of them were okay, but most of them didn't leave a great impression. But I don't think I really grabbed like the really good ones for the Master System either. So I need to go back and.
Double Dragon for the Master System was amazing.
Really? Because I always played that on the NES, and it was really good on the NES.
It was amazing on the Master System. I'll tell you what,
I've heard there's a lot of good fun games on the Master System.
I was actually really impressed.
Was it Axe Battler? I think.
Axe Battler's a good one.
Yeah, that's the Zelda clone with Axe Battler.
Well, I'll tell you, a couple of things that I noticed about so if you really want to see good Master System videos, Bacon Ice Cream Productions
RetroRoots does a good job on those, doesn't he?
Yep.
Yeah.
But I watched Master System Marceau do Outrun and do a world record run on Outrun on the Master System.
That's right. He does a lot of that too. I need to dig more to his library.
I gotta say, it looked really good for what it does.
And Dorkside's done some of that too. He's been he was for a little while. He was doing Master System versus NES comparisons, and a lot of ones he picked. The Master System had a better color palette. And a little bit better audio, but it seemed like the way he was describing it, the controls might not have been quite where they needed to be. So it's like a little bit funky sometimes, not all the time. It's sometimes in the controls department. Yeah, Shinobi is one of those, like the original Shinobi. I kind of want to dig into one day. That's kind of more of an art. I kind of want to play the arcade version of that. I've beaten Revenge of Shinobi, and eventually I want to go through. Maybe one day I'll go through Shadow Dancer.
Shinobi,
I don't know. After my last Genesis game, I've kind of given Sega a wide berth for a long time. I've been having a hard time dragging myself back to the consoles to really dig deeper into the library, and I really should, but I haven't. Mike, what's one of your systems or games or all the above?
So, I was trying to think what influenced me the most, because I mean, obviously, it's hard to influence a 6-year-old, and a 6-year, I was 6 when the Intellivision came out. That was my first, really good foray. I had a 2600, but I don't remember it as much as I remember my Intellivision. But that's not the system that influenced me the most. The system that influenced me the most was the ColecoVision, because that is the system that when I first got it, and it came packed with Zaxxon, and
Zaxxon's a really good game on the ColecoVision. I've heard bad things about it on the Intellivision, but it's a really good Intellivision game.
ColecoVision game?
Sorry, ColecoVision game.
Yeah.
Yes, sorry.
I watched you just kind of fumble that one. I was kind of
nah, I got it. Well, the thing about it, the thing about the ColecoVision was, at the time, if you went to the arcade and you played Zaxxon, and then you came home and you played Zaxxon on the ColecoVision, it was hard-pressed, as a 9 and 10-year-old, hard-pressed to tell the difference between the two. And that's what was killer about it. The ColecoVision had Nintendo's licensing on it because Nintendo wasn't there yet. So Donkey Kong was on the ColecoVision, and it was not arcade perfect because it was missing a girder. So I don't know if you guys have ever paid any real attention to this, but in the ColecoVision version of Donkey Kong is on if you're looking at the screen, the right-hand side, and the arcade and every other version, he's on the left. Because the ColecoVision was built for home television, CRTs, and the wider screen than what you had in the arcade, because the arcade Donkey Kong was basically a monitor flipped on its side. To fit the game correctly, they just took out a level. So you didn't have to go up as many girders to get to the top of the first level. Everything else was fine. And then, of course, Donkey Kong Jr., which I covered, not to give myself a shameless plug, but when I did my ColecoVision side of the RetroRoots video for the Atari VCS, Donkey Kong Jr. was one of my Coleco games that I showed off, and that was almost pixel perfect to the arcade. Almost.
Wow, because the Atari 2600 of Donkey Kong Jr. is just awful.
The ColecoVision version of the Donkey Kong games were really good.
Yeah,
like the original Donkey Kong Jr. Those were all really good games. I never messed with that third one very much. Where like your
Donkey Kong 3 was I didn't like it.
I
at
liked
all.
it.
I didn't like it. I kind of felt like they were moving they were moving in that Mario Brothers direction at that time. So I felt like it was just such a different game with shooting the water cannon up and stuff like that. I wasn't into that.
I never even touched that one. I don't know why. I think I dipped out after Donkey Kong Jr., which I remember enjoying. I remember enjoying that and Donkey Kong. They're kind of hard for me to go back and play now, especially the original Donkey Kong because it's so stiff on the movement, which is fine. It was the very first game to kind of do that kind of mechanic. It's just kind of hard to go back to. It's kind of like going back to like some of the N64 games after you play with modern camera controls. Like it's you got to rewire your brain to play that way, whereas before it was just natural because that was the first time you had messed with it that way, right? So it's what you had, so you just immediately adapted to it. It wasn't a big deal.
Yeah. So the other thing about the ColecoVision was there were so many games that you could point to, and again, it was all about bringing the arcade stuff home. So Venture, Cosmic Avenger, which was a shmup at the time that got very overlooked, but was very much like very much in the same vein as Scramble.
Yeah, I canceled Super Mega Graphics 64 because he's anti ColecoVision now. It's true. It's true.
Blocked. Time Pilot. Time. I'm gonna drop him off in the middle of the Poconos. Time Pilot was on that system. Carnival, Shoplifter, Congo Bongo, which was another great Sega game.
And not a ripoff of Donkey Kong at all.
Not at all. Gateway to Apshi, which was a computer game, was on that. Jungle Hunt, Miner 2049er, which I used to play on the Atari computer systems. Mr. Do was a big game on that.
Mr. Do was great on the ColecoVision.
And
I played the crap out of Mr. Do.
Close. It had both Pitfalls. It had Qbert, which looked better than any of the other Qberts out there.
Adventure was a good game for that one as well.
Adventure was a good game. It had
That's a tough game to go back and play now. Like, it's just hard. It's just legit kind of a hard game.
It had the best version of Star Wars the Arcade. It had the best version of Spy Hunter. I mean, it just at the time. And then on top of all of that, it was the first system I remember that had attachments like a wheel. So Turbo, which was another arcade game, it had a wheel with a gas pedal and a shifter. And I had that.
I do too. I had that. I remember playing that. And then, Zombie makes a good point. Gunboy Yoko made devices of Game Watch and Game Boy, and he knew they'd be big sellers because much like people reading the newspaper or a magazine or whatever before they get on a train or whatever, they need something to kind of kill time and get out of their own headspace.
Oh, absolutely.
So those kinds of things were a brilliant addition to that.
Absolutely. So, and by the way,
I've not seen Donkey Kong PK for 7800 at all. Sorry, I'm trying to catch up on chat. I wanted to get to that comment before I moved too far down, and we were in the middle of so many conversations. I wanted to keep it up there until we talked about it.
No worries. And finally on that, that's right. You're damn right. I drop Time Pilot every chance I get. It's one of my favorite shmups of all time. Gorf was another one that people never remember Gorf, but that was on ColecoVision too. And as the bonus, then you had the I forgot what it was called. What was the I forgot the official name of the second add-on. The expansion. Thank you, expansion module 1, which played
26
plays
games.
Atari VCS games. This
also
would never
the
fly
Atari
today.
2600.
I just had this crazy feeling that this was going to come up, so I was looking around like I knew I had it around here someplace.
I never had that attachment, but then we never really bought a lot of Atari games. I never had the Atari, so we didn't get into grabbing those.
No.
And Television did the same thing on the Television 2.
Yep. I loved having that because it, and of course you could take your Atari 2600 controllers if you didn't want to use the Coleco controllers and use your
had the same pinout.
Yep.
So,
and by the way, I was incorrect about one thing. I just took a quick look at the wheel. It wasn't that the wheel had a shifter. What you did was you took the ColecoVision controller and you put it into a slot, like a holder to the right of the wheel, and the ColecoVision controller was the shifter. So
was it? I don't remember. Yep. I had that, and I remember playing the crap out of it for some reason. Because I remember being fascinated with that the car would change shape. The faster you got, the car would kind of morph and change shape. And I thought that was just like the coolest thing.
Here.
Like,
it was called the Expansion Module 2. It wasn't even called a steering wheel.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so the
let me pull this up here. Hang on.
The gas pedal stored there, and when you took the gas pedal out to put it on the ground, you put the controller in there. Let me see if I can find a picture of the controller.
I remember playing this thing sitting on the floor, and it was kind of awkward because my foot would be cooked up at a weird angle, so I could press on the gas. It was kind of a weird spot to be in.
What about Dorf on Golf? I loved Dorf.
Dorf on Golf.
Oh my goodness, Tim Conway was just the best.
Chat is just popping off tonight. They've got all sorts of stuff going on, which is great.
That's because they don't like the ColecoVision, so they're trolling me. Here you go. Here's the well, if they don't do it, you'll do it. Here's the picture with the controller inside of it. And that was your shifter.
Yeah, I had that layout. I had a lot of fun. This was probably one of the only racing games I actually had fun with.
Turbo was such a good. Oh, what about Dorf on Gorf? Got it. I got it.
Mama says ColecoVision is the devil.
Oh my goodness! So that
no! Now I'm gonna have to cancel Chuck too. Cancel ColecoVision? How dare you, sir?
Oh, Chuck is canceled. So from a console standpoint, that was the one that influenced me the most, until I got into the Atari computers, and that's a whole different conversation.
Yeah. I don't know if I was gonna go. Well, I guess computers count. I guess it. Because I was thinking like consoles and video games and stuff like that, not necessarily computers. But then I didn't get into computers until I want to say like DOS was out, and then I was playing stuff like Black Cauldron, and then eventually like TIE Fighter and X-Wing versus TIE Fighter and stuff like that. But that was like 90s for that. It was mostly Black Cauldron and like cards and printouts on all those god awful like needle printers, the ones that do that big screeching sound when you print.
Dot matrix printers.
Oh god! I'm surprised my parents didn't kill me. I made so many things with that. Oh my god!
Yes, but Banner Mania, where you could just print banners on those long.
Yeah, just painful in retrospect. I don't know how my parents dealt with it.
Oh, it's all good, cousin Born. You're good for one. Sonic CD joke a night.
Oh, we had a Sonic CD joke and I mixed it. Oh no!
And you missed it.
Oh no! I'm gonna have to.
It was great though, Nick. It would have changed your evening, I think.
Chad is definitely cheering me up.
I'm sorry. Oh, what's up, Dan? Good to see you, man. Mail order monsters on the Atari 800 XL.
So Dan, I had the 1200 XL. So.
Yeah, I know a few people that love the 5200, but it doesn't really get a ton of love. I know Cy loves his. I know Genovi loves his. There's a fan club for the 5200, to be sure. But
unironic?
An unironic fan club, yes, absolutely. Because I think Genovi just generally likes his, and I know Cy generally just likes his.
Well, the cool thing about the 5200 was at the time I was into like exactly. So Dyer has it exactly right. The games on the Atari computer and the games on the 5200 were identical. And they were developed with the same coding and stuff, so it was easy to port them back and forth.
Say Kuromi's in here and he's saying GameCube and GBA, and I could totally see those being, because in a lot of ways those were companion pieces too, almost. Mm-hmm. Because again, the GameCube was specifically built around interacting with using the GBA as extra controllers in a lot of ways. And hi, by the way. And mine is probably, obviously, for handheld, I'd probably say my first love was the Game Boy, followed quickly by the Game Gear. I love them both almost equally as far as handhelds go, because there's a lot more games on the Game Boy that I liked playing than I did on the Game Gear, but you still take my Game Gear out of my cold dead hands. I had the battery pack that you were supposed to be able to take the thing with you with it, but I still just left it plugged into the wall, so my Game Gear always had power, because that thing ate batteries within like an hour and a half, 2 hours. I know it said 4. I don't think I ever got 4. Ever. I don't make Game Gear batteries. And then I had a ton of games I really loved on the ColecoVision. Played a ton of Smurfs, a ton of Adventure, Time Pilot. Obviously, is kind of a must.
Smurfs Adventure.
Smurfs Adventure
Gargamel's Castle.
Yes, that was a fantastic game on the ColecoVision.
That was an amazing game.
I played a lot of Mr. Do. My mom adored Ladybug, which is
okay. Your mother too. So I gotta tell you this. Let me tell you this quick anecdote. My mother flipped Ladybug, took the picture, sent it to Coleco. She actually flipped the score on that game.
Did she? I don't know if my mom ever did. She got super far. Okay, I'm gonna.
I was waiting for you to say that because I knew you were gonna bring up the Game Gear dildo. I was like, because I know you and I watch the same stuff.
What's sad is I had to allow that comment.
Yeah. I let the one before that, so it's fine.
I was like, Scepter's gonna say it. He's gonna say it. Keep on talking about the battery pack, Nick. It's coming. It's coming.
It's okay. Oh, Chuck's is Chuck. Wait a minute. Hold on. Is Chuck letting in his eye? Hold on. Smoke affected. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no.
The lovely wafting.
The shots fired about size 4 5200.
Yeah.
But you did get fixed. You got that fixed. You always got the two of them to work. Just
Dyer had a trash 80 when he was a kid. I did not have the trash 80. I had a Tandy 1000 EX. That was my first foray into PC gaming.
So somebody actually tried to do a Smurfs homebrew on the television? Sydney.
Oh, and that's what became. That's right. That's what became Sydney Hunter, because they couldn't use Brother Lance with the knowledge. I remember that.
It's the flamingo blood of me. Oh, the smell of burnt silicon in the morning.
Yeah.
Oh, chat's gone dark. It was gonna happen at some point. Chat went dark. But yeah, I got really hooked on my NES after the ColecoVision. I mean, the more we talk, the more we kind of reminisce about the ColecoVision these days, the more games I remember playing on the ColecoVision. Like it's kind of like one of those hazy memories that like suddenly somebody will mention a game and you're like, oh crap! I remember like sitting in for some reason it was hooked up on my mom's bedroom one day for whatever reason, and sitting in there with the steering wheel on the floor and playing Turbo for like hours, right? Just to see the car like morph and change and something cooler. I always wanted to get it up to top speed so it looked like a dope F1 racer. Well, okay, not really an F1 racer, but in my head it was an F1 racer, and stuff like that. But the NES is probably, I was like more, I feel so attacked. Welcome to our chat side. I'm constantly under attack. RetroRoots After Dark. Oh yeah. But yeah, I have so many more memories of like Legend of Zelda and Metroid. Metroid was the first game I asked for on the NES outside of the the Duck Hunt Mario combo that we got with the Zapper kit, the Mom bought. And then my brother asked for Legend of Zelda. And one of my biggest Legend of Zelda memories is almost life-threatening because I accidentally overwrote my brother's save and he was furious. I had to run for cover for a while on that one. And then Goonies 2. I spent a ton of time playing Goonies 2. Got in trouble playing that one when I was grounded. Mom was not thrilled. Those are probably some of my earliest memories that I can think of as far as early formative years, and then later on getting consoles like the SNES and the Genesis. And then I think the Xbox being the N64 was the first one I bought with my own money. And then the Xbox, the OG Xbox. Because I was one of those weird guys that saw it and went, I kind of laughed at it because it was Microsoft and expected it to crash every 2 seconds. And then the more I looked at the lineup, the more I'm like, I want it. Yeah. I really want it.
I mean, obviously, Sega is the way I went after getting into consoles. I went Genesis, Sega CD, 32X, Saturn, Dreamcast, and then into Xbox. That was my path.
See, I had kind of like a blended path because I had the NES, but I never had the Master System. Because one, I never found it around anywhere. When I was a kid, I don't remember seeing it. And then when I got the Genesis, I didn't get any more good memories of it because I bought the converter thinking, great, the Master System's kind of on its way out. I can pick up on a lot of its library and get those on the cheap by having this $100 converter, and then all those are gone. Couldn't find them anywhere. So I had this $100 converter piece that Mom had bought me that couldn't do anything. So it's kind of one of those things. It's like, well, what the hell? So I never really got to experience the Master System. I played the Genesis a ton. Probably, I'd say, not quite 50-50, probably more 60-40. Super NES to Genesis, because I was big into RPGs at the time. And Genesis had some really good RPGs. But the Super Nintendo just had so many more, I felt like, that I ended up gravitating more towards it then. After you've written your brother's Zelda save, it's a 500% in your save files being set to chart. Hi, Rab. How are you? Rab always comes in with a zinger. And everybody went super quiet on me. I feel like I'm just feeling dead air now, guys.
Well, we're listening to your story.
Yeah,
okay.
I mean,
that's the sound of attention.
Yes.
Oh, okay. I'm not used to that.
I know.
It feels wrong.
What's up, Rab?
What's up, guys?
No.
So the NES would be the console that influenced you the most? Like,
I'd say so, yeah.
I was a little iffy on what does it mean to influence? Like, I guess had the establish your love for video games. Is that what we're saying influence is? I guess I should have asked that question before.
That's a good question.
Kind of
explain yourself.
Well, okay. Well, I didn't really have all. You guys agreed to this. I figured you guys had a thought process on this. Oh my god.
We just agree to whatever you say, man. It's your show.
We're very agreeable.
It's your channel. We agree.
I feel like you guys got me.
Well, no, but he makes a good point. What does influence mean? Because, like I said earlier, I mean, the Intellivision was the first real video game system that I remember. I mean, we had a VIC-20 for a couple of days, but I mean, that wasn't a game system. But I was 6 years old, and I don't know that I loved it because I was a kid, but I don't know if it necessarily influenced anything that it didn't drive me towards a love of video games like that I have today, right? The ColecoVision did, and the Atari computer did. I think if I didn't have if I had it in television, but then never had another system beyond that, I can't say that I'd be sitting here today. But the ColecoVision, the Atari 400, 800, 1200 XL, those are systems that drew me towards playing video games on a full-time basis, or to my adult years.
Yeah.
With that definition, I'm still Game Boy.
Yeah, I'd probably stay NES because, I mean, while I had the ColecoVision and I loved the ColecoVision, and while it was part of what made me want the NES, I think it's the NES that got me wanting like all the newer consoles, right? Because there was so much more to the NES games, right? That's right around the time where, while the graphics weren't pushing, they weren't trying to necessarily keep up with the arcade graphics because they couldn't, but they compensated by trying to give you more of a story arc and like a little bit of a tighter gameplay. Didn't feel so much like they're just trying to kill you in like 30 seconds. Now, mind you, many of them did, but you could generally get past that with some playtime through. And generally, on a lot of them, even some of the early NES games, you would get a bit of story here and there. Ninja Gaiden had like cutscenes, and Ghosts and Goblins had the cutscene before you started, so you kind of knew what you were going for and things like that. And Mario Brothers kind of had a clear-cut goal with like level designs, and you felt like you were kind of making more progress, and it just felt more cohesive, like it was kind of coming together into its own. And I think that's kind of what really started to kind of draw me in personally. Anything else? And the Game Boy was a good extension to that as well. Absolutely.
I mean, that definitely makes sense. No. So, Rob, does that also kind of answer it for you? Or do you have a different thought process on what influence would mean?
No, I think Scepter, and I think he summed it up pretty well. He said, I forgot his comment, but he said, what system did you have basically as a kid that influenced your modern proclivities? Sure. So
there we go. What retro console influenced your modern proclivities?
In the spirit of what you meant when you came up with this.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's pretty much it. Yeah.
What's up, Retro Bro?
What's up, Retro Bro? How you doing, man? Good to see you.
I'm sticking with the ColecoVision in that scenario then. So given the way he's asking it, I'm sticking with the ColecoVision.
Okay. Yeah, I know. And you know what? Yeah. I even put that into Google, and I think it looked right, so I left it. So, and I thought it looked a little strange, but then I thought I cross-checked it, and it was fine, so I just left it. So, yeah, it's fine, dude. It's totally
I made a
fine.
mental note to give Nick a hard time about that, and I forgot because
everybody gives me a hard time on my spelling. Like I can sometimes speak in coherent sentences, and then most of the time I can't ever spell right, so it's fine.
It's a Monday.
It's a Monday, and I'm exceptionally tired. Monday. And then here in about 30 minutes, I got to go to work. So yeah, it's Monday. So this might be a little bit of a short stream. Is there anything else we wanted to cover, kind of go over? This was actually kind of a good topic for the time window that we had, because I feel like we're kind of like wrapping this up a little bit, unless somebody wants to go into like later consoles or something like that kind of maybe redirected you or anything like that you thought were like important or critical. What's up, Big Family Gaming? Yeah, everybody's got a case of the Mondays today, definitely.
Oh yeah, I'm just in such a piss poor mood. The chat has been awesome and cheering me up today.
The chat's been amazing.
Nick and I have been crap at it, so it's a good thing the chat stepped in.
Yeah, somebody had to. It wasn't going to be me. It wasn't going to be me tonight, apparently.
Nice. That's also a good question. What would redirect you in your later years? Obviously we have the ones that define us, but what about the ones that then once they defined you, guided you along that route? So as much as I love my Saturns, much as that is one, like in the top tier of the Dreamcast is the one that actually answers that question because it did multiple things for me. And getting a metallic. I have not had. You know what's funny is I used to have that shirt too. Oh.
You need to ride the lightning shirt, sir.
Oh yes, I do. The Dreamcast. Thanks, Zombie. Zombie, I love you, man. No, truly, man. I truly. You see, this was not a smile I had on my face at any point today.
That's good stuff.
Until you. Thank you, brother Zombie.
That's good stuff.
So the crazy thing about the Dreamcast is that the Dreamcast not only solidified my adult gaming, it's how I got into my game journalism decade. I mean, without the Dreamcast, seriously, I may never have there are things that I would never have had and maybe would have not been so big into gaming as a bigger adult. So like the ColecoVision got me there. The Dreamcast pushed me over to a whole new level, not just of video gaming, but within the video game industry. Meeting Peter Moore, going to E3, being on the back of freaking, box quotes, just all kinds of crazy stuff. And then playing those games and using the VMU and getting into the import scene more than I did with I was in the import scene a little bit with the Saturn, but I was really in the import scene with the Dreamcast. So, that was a pivotal console for me. And it's not even my favorite Sega console. The Sega CD is, but the Dreamcast was the most pivotal of all the consoles for me.
See,
beyond even Xbox and PlayStation and all that, it was the Dreamcast.
I think mine might be the Xbox, which is weird but here's my reasoning why. It more or less introduced me to Western RPGs, which have become like a huge thing. Like BioWare's RPGs pretty much like got me into love with RPGs all over again from a totally different perspective. And it got me
Empire.
back. Yeah, it got me back into FPSs as well because I'd bowed out of those after like Doom 2. I wouldn't really touch them. Halo was kind of an eye opener of how far they had come and where they could go, right?
And
so it got me back into diving in, the dual sticks and just how smooth Halo worked, right? The AI, the feel for it, how everything ran, how everything looked. It was kind of an eye opener for what the genre could be. Because up until then, my primary example had been things like Doom and Unreal. My Unreal tournament was fun. I didn't really play online a lot. I didn't really play friends with it a lot at the time, unless I dragged my computer somewhere. And Doom was just kind of like spawning monster after monster after monster, and I got a little grindy and exhausting. It didn't really feel like you had much of a point, except for just to get to the end of the stage to get to the next stage. Now that's fun here and there, but Halo kind of felt like I was being pulled along and involved completely in a story from start to finish, right? Like from beginning to end, you go from gold to gold to gold to gold to gold. And the way it worked on the Xbox is it would just kind of completely transition and keep going. So it kind of felt like you're part of this big war that never really stopped until you like realistically ended the fight. And it was kind of a huge eye opener for me. The Dreamcast was amazing. Don't get me wrong. I loved my Dreamcast. Had tons of fun with Crazy Taxi and Power Stone and Sonic Adventure. And oh my God, the RPGs on there, like Skies of Arcadia and what is it? Was like XOC.
Skies of Arcadia was so good.
Which one? Grandia too. Just so many good games on there. Love that system. But I think the one that kind of changed my mentality most as I got more to an adult and brought me back to genres that I was starting to lean away from or showed me kind of new ways to look at those genres was the Xbox.
I could see that. And remember, I'm the oldest of the bunch, so
we remember.
Yeah. There you go, Rob. So a lot of those, you have to remember that I was playing Quake 3 Arena, and Carla, if you're still there, she will love me for this, on the Dreamcast with a mouse and keyboard. So, but you also have to remember, back on the Saturn, I was playing Duke Nukem on a Saturn with an analog stick. So I mean, I those were already there for me. But to your point, Nick, there were some special games on the Xbox, and you mentioned BioWare, Jade Empire, which I still have to this day, was great. And don't forget that the Star Wars PC games showed up there. The Jedi Knight series, Dark Forces, Jedi Outcast. You are absolutely right, and it is totally fair to go that route. Where I go back to the Dreamcast too is the Dreamcast also kind of pioneered some things, and Scepter and Dire are hitting this up right now.
Oh, Soul Calibur still looks amazing. That was probably the most incredible launch title I've ever seen. It looked better than the arcade.
And still holds up. Still holds up today. The Dreamcast there will never, in our lifetime, will never be a launch lineup that will match the Dreamcast. There just won't. There can't. They're just, especially now. And I will lay the gauntlet down to anybody that wants to take that lineup on. I mean, there was just such an amazing lineup.
Yeah, I do think the Dreamcast probably has had the best lineup that I can think of in history. I mean, the 360 had a pretty good lineup with Cameo and a bunch of other games like that came out with it, but I still don't think it stands out to the Dreamcast. Not quite. It's probably the closest.
It's probably the closest, but it is that launch lineup. I mean, just Ready to Rumble was in it. NFL Blitz was in it. Mortal Kombat Gold was in it. Soul Calibur, Power Stone, Marvel vs. Capcom.
I spent so much time on Mortal Kombat Gold and Power Stone.
Rainbow Six was in there. There were 2 kart racing. There was 2 racing games. House of the Dead was in there.
Wasn't Ready to Rumble pretty close to launch?
Ready to Rumble was a launch title.
Yeah.
Air Force Delta, which was Konami's kind of first jet fighter run on a Sega console.
And I think you totally missed Sonic Adventure. How you missed that one?
I was getting to Sonic Adventure. Hydro Thunder, because I was going to do Sonic Adventure last. Hydro Thunder was a launch title. I mean, it just...
Crazy Taxi.
Crazy Taxi was not a launch title.
I thought it was.
No. Crazy Taxi was not a launch title. It was a launch window, but not a launch title.
Okay.
It was nuts. Plus, it was the Saturn was really the first game system I remember that had online, in a way, online gaming. It had take it easy, Chuck. It had the NetLink, so I could play peer-to-peer modem games with my friends. So I would play Duke Nukem with a buddy, one-on-one, but it was the Dreamcast that really brought online play to me too, with SegaNet, and that, playing Speed Devils and Outrigger and Virtual On. And I even had the which I still have it today, the broadband adapter, just so I could play Phantasy Star Online. Phantasy Star Online was a was a game-changing experience on the Dreamcast, and it came to Xbox.
The Xbox was one of those for me because not only because you could take it
absolutely,
online, but you could also land them together. You could put like 4 or 5 of those things together, so you could do a LAN party with a console. That's one of the only times I've ever seen that happen.
Did that with Halo, and we there was a VPN solution back in the day that you used to play Halo online through System Link because Xbox Live hadn't launched yet. So yeah, we got creative back then.
I could see that. Okay, we should probably end pretty soon because I got to go to work soon.
You got to go to work.
But Rob, anything?
Yeah, I'll be quick about mine because I have a full video about it anyway. So the GameCube would be my secondary console.
Oh, that's a great pick.
Yeah, that's a great pick. Yeah.
But yes,
I could totally see that.
Everything you guys said, but applied to the GameCube.
Yep.
That's my
totally fair.
Oh, that makes total sense. I love the GameCube. I got that as a secondary system after I got the Xbox because at the time the GameCube didn't make any sense to me, and then after a while, I picked up one and it was a great system. I missed a ton of good games on that, but man, it's a phenomenal system. So good.
Is Nick frozen for anyone else? Because this is.
No, I think I'm just frozen. It's fine.
You're. We can hear you.
Yeah. Well, at least you can hear me. We're about to call it a night anyway because I can't stay too much longer. I got 15 minutes before I got to go to work. So we're gonna call it tonight. Does anybody have anything going on their channel or anything they want to talk about or what's going on?
Lots going on is from the news site. So if you guys want to check out, some game talk tomorrow night, we'll be on 9:30 NLG show. Lots going on. The first country to approve the mega Microsoft Activision deal is in the books. Saudi Arabia, actually, but that's the first one, and typically after the first one lands, the rest are going to go.
I kind of figured that was a done deal, but I figured it was going to go. It hasn't been a done deal completely. There are some regulatory things in the US and the UK that they have to hurdle through, and the US, the FTC in the US is really starting to try to come down on a lot of these big tech mergers. So, and Microsoft's a good punching bag for the federal government, so they're looking for any way to take a swing at Microsoft. So long story short, we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about what's kind of going on around town. Okay, cool. Rob?
No, not really. I've been working on a couple videos. I don't know if they're going to come out this week or anything. We actually, yes, Maz. That's exactly what we did. Nick didn't have anything to say, so we just kind of put this picture of him up there. And
at this point, you really should just replace me with the taco. The other thing I have going on is I dropped a video today. I'm going to try to drop another one on like an Atari controller I found that I thought was pretty cool on Wednesday on the other channel. Still kind of in limbo on this one. Still just basically doing streaming here and seem to be unable to find other stream times because it seems like every time I start to try to work another stream time in, somebody needs me on something else or something comes up and then I can't do it. Or my wife's like, are you ever going to spend time with me? And I'm like, okay, I can't do this. So that's kind of where my life is right now. So not really sure what to do with that. So anyway, that is about where I'm at. Not much else going on other than trying to keep this going and trying to figure out the future of this particular channel or what I'm going to do with it in the near future. But other than that, just kind of cruising along with work and things like that. So that's kind of all I got going on. Ventrilo goes with cash. That's pretty brilliant.
Run the mic, MRM, and picture of Nick.
All right. So
I see you use a record of Nick talking good job to Mike and MrMatthews for timing when to talk.
That's brilliant.
However, He is looking judgingly at you, Rob, right now.
Yeah, it's like
I've got giving Matthews the stink eye, which I wasn't doing.
Yeah.
Totally wasn't doing. All right, guys. Any last words?
I just kind of wish you'd actually been caught like food being crammed in your mouth. That would have been more appropriate. But
It's fair. It's totally fair.
That would have been wonderful.
All right, I think we're going to call it here, guys. Thank you guys for showing up and hanging out with us again on another Monday. We appreciate the hell out of it. And we will see you guys on the next one, or if nothing else, I will see you guys tomorrow as I try to get my head against Ninja Game for the third time. I need to come up with a new thumbnail. I've used this one twice now. I feel like doing this again is kind of like madness. So try to come up with something better. Anyway, thank you so much. Have a great evening, guys, and we will talk to you later. Happy gaming.
Night, everyone.
Play on, gamers.